Mr. T-Bird Jones, how are we?
Good, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How you keeping?
All right. In this crazy world.
I was about to say, I didn't want to go too much into lockdown, but unfortunately it's topic on everybody's tip of the tongue all these days, isn't
it's
it?
all just weird, isn't it? But
Yeah.
bit of normality in here, which is always a winner.
You did a social distance DJs. How many of those have you done since lockdown?
It's been 2 or 3 now at the Night Owl.
Yeah. How's it been? Like, because obviously...
Yeah, it's weird because you got to go in knowing that people ain't dancing.
Yeah.
And people ain't requesting. So you go, it's good because it takes a bit of hassle off you.
Yeah.
Especially with the Night Owl because they do like brunches and stuff. So people have bought tickets. And they're a good crowd because they know what they're getting. If it's a soul and funk brunch, they're happy with anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it takes that hassle off you from, say, a normal Friday and Saturday where people are ready to have a go all the time, you know.
Well, yeah, we've worked in the same venues at the same time. We know what it's like.
Yeah.
But do you feel like... I can't remember you mentioned to me... Do you almost feel more robotic now?
I don't, because I'm sure I still do CDs and vinyl.
Yeah.
So my mind's still on. I'm sure I'm not taking it off anybody who uses like laptops or memory sticks, but I'm still planning it out, or I take my records up. I'm still searching through all my CDs. So I mean, it does in a way, but especially with something like that as well, because it's I'm DJing for hours, it's got to be bangers all the way.
Yeah, of course.
Because people are there for a soul brunch, so they don't want to hear, as much as I want to hear a B-side of a Otis Redding track, you know what I mean? They want to hear the big ones, which is great by me, because it's my sort of funk anyway.
Well, I've been like that. I was like, it's whenever I've been at work and then the DJ's put on, and like it's for me, it's when Grace Jones plays on. If you play Grace Jones, or say if George played Grace Jones, I was like, this is a set now. This is my sort of set. But then there's people like, but yeah, you got. How do you do like? How much thought do you put into it?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, people think it's easy, and I'm sure some people. I think it's difficult because you've got to read the crowd for a start. And I know it's a joke, but the DJ has got the power to empty a pub. Yeah. If I put some crap on that's just out, so I'm playing soul for 3 hours, the last hour I play something else and I don't stop, they'll go. Yeah. And it'll empty. So it's. But yeah, I do a lot of, you're planning. I'm not planning out the songs I'm playing. Yeah. But I know for the first hour it's always going to be a bit quiet. Say, example at the Vic, 9 till 2. 9 till 10, people are crossing over. The first hour's quiet, so you'll put things on little people like, oh, I know this, but it's not a big thing. But then if it's rammed, then you'll go for it. Yeah.
It's like I mean, I don't DJ, but I've done a few playlists for work, and like even with a playlist, because you've got to keep. Yeah. You've got to put some stuff in, but then you drop. You drop a few old school stuff, and it's like people don't realise, do they? No,
don't get me wrong. I mean, if you've got the room good and they're not, they're good people, you could put anything, and they'll still go. You soon read it if you're playing soul, and you'll throw something in there that's a bit like a hip hop track. If they go for it, you can do it, but then you just back away from that if they don't. So it is reading the crowd, and it's. I've done it for that many years, and I don't mean I'm not moaning at all, but you kind of know what you're reading. Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever dropped something and then everybody just like disperse?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. I'll tell you what, me and Carlton, my pal, we played Kendrick Lamar years ago. He's the big thing. We played him, and I remember we put it on, and people just looked at us, and everybody sat down. I said, "This is unbelievable." But it's funny. Then a few years later, I'm not saying we were ahead of everybody.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I remember Carlton said, "Have you heard this?" Kendrick Lamar was like, "Oh, wicked, let's put it on." People are into it, but it's just not. Yeah. It needs to be stuff they want to hear to dance. Yeah. You can sit at the table and go, "Oh, this is wicked stuff." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's different. But midnight, it's got to be midnight, 11 o'clock, 1 in the morning. You can't risk that sort of thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You know when you like DJ clubs and stuff and pubs, like how much interaction do you have with the crowd? Because obviously, if you go and see like David Guetta, it's like a concert.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's it like?
I mean, just like places we do. I mean, you'd want it. You want people to come up and ask you. Yeah, you're going to get the arses coming up saying, this is crap. They come up at 9:30 saying it's crap, and they're there at 2 in the morning. Yeah. So I always do go up and say, is it still crap? And they usually tell you to get lost. But, it's good. It's nice to have. And if somebody comes up and says, oh, this is wicked, it means more than, without being a cliche, me and Carlton, my pal, have done it that long. It's more than money. If somebody says this is a great night, or at the end of the night, they say that's brilliant, it means a lot more.
No, it's the same with me. Like, obviously, I'm only a bartender, but if someone's not overly nice, but if someone
says thanks for tonight, it's like it really gets you. Like a thank you at the end of the night is the biggest thing you can ever hope for.
Yeah, especially recently.
And I'm not being all over like, oh, it's lovely, but if somebody says thanks, you're like, wow, you've took the time to come and say thanks. Yeah, which is massive.
The thing is, no matter what walk of life, you always remember the negatives more than the positives.
Yeah, but you get a thank you and you're like, this is lovely. Or somebody will say, oh, do you do weddings, or do you want to do a wedding and stuff? And you're like, we don't really, but like, you know, to think if somebody wants to put your trust in you for that,
of course,
it's massive, isn't it? I love it. Just love it, man. It's just nice. You're playing music loud.
That's what I mean. Well, you're a DJ and a musician, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, how's the Swampmeat family going?
It's good. It's weird. We got loads of things. We had an album come out in the mid-lockdown, but the record label said let's stick it out because people want to support you during this.
Yeah,
and it has worked. We've sold a lot. We've sold a lot more than normal.
Yeah.
And it's nice because people want to keep going, and because our record label's in Sweden, you know, so like they've dealt with the pandemic, and you know, so they're still having to operate. They can't put gigs on a lot, and we were due to be over there for the launch and stuff. And,
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like, how did you get out? Like, because obviously when I think of record labels and being in bands when I was younger, it was all local stuff. Do you know what I mean? But how did Sweden get in touch with you?
Well, it's like Punk Slime, like our friend Luke from years ago. We've put him on in bands. He always wanted to do a label, and he got one going, this Punk Slime over here, and then he moved to Sweden.
Oh, okay.
And he just started it there, and it's like the bands, there's loads of like local, not local bands, but our friends, Black Mekon, Cherry Pickles, and us, Swampmeat, like we just get the stuff released out, but then from that, other people, we were the first on there.
Yeah.
Because we supported him when he was coming through. And yeah, just like that, it just happens to be lives in Sweden.
Yeah,
you know
I thought it was just like...
But from that, other people have got in touch in America, and they've, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Like not a label, but they've released.
Yeah,
they release stuff over there and everything.
That's the thing. You don't like when people think of record labels. I think not people that haven't. Oh, I'm not saying I've been in the industry, but when you're playing bands and stuff, you think EMI and big ones like that. But it's surprising how well small labels can do with smaller bands. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously they've not got stones on the books, do you know what I mean? But you can still make a living.
I mean, we've got our own little label, Cold Rice, which has gone now.
Yeah.
But we put our own stuff out on there, but like through CDs, you could afford the odd bit of vinyl, but it's too expensive. But you'd put your own gigs on at the studios and stuff like that. But then to get, I don't mean to the next level of like earning money. I don't mean it like, but to the next level of like money coming in to get vinyl sorted would be too much to get 1,000.
Yeah, no, I totally
printed,
get it.
You know what I mean? So you need the record label behind you. Then we can sell them at gigs, but then there's a lot of like they do all the online stuff.
No, I totally get that.
So
because like you got to start off. It's like anything. You got to start off with the cheapest stuff.
Yeah.
Probably like not MP3s, but like digital downloads.
Yeah, well that was it. Yeah, I mean they still do the digital downloads, but because vinyl's massive again now. You do like our one come out. It was 30 quid, but you got a T-shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
A digital download. It's like coloured vinyl. You know, like, so it's all, there's things there for people, badge you know what I mean? It's not just...
Yeah, because when you're independent, especially like people that like independent music, it's like independent beer as well.
Yeah.
You like what you like, and you want to get as much, you want to support it as much as possible.
Yeah, of course. And that's it, I think, because we've, and Black Mekon and Cherry Pickles, the big ones at the Our Pals, Black Mekon, like, they released stuff, and they put, it was about a couple of years ago, they put their vinyl out, was a board game as well.
Oh, sweet.
So on the back of the vinyl, on the cover, was like the board game itself, and then for the limited edition, put in the money for it, you'd get little playing pieces, dice, cards to play the game on the back of the record. And so you land on a spot, you play a track off the album, and then you'd move around like that. So it's stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Different things.
Yeah, you've got to be innovative, haven't you?
Yeah, and they are, and that's great. And like Cherry Pickles, like Priscilla, she does all her own artwork because she's got a clothing label as well. So she does their artwork and design stuff. So it's adding that extra little bits to it, like, It's...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because like I know Idols, when they supported Foo Fighters, like bands entered the competition, and what they did was like they made a jigsaw.
Yeah.
Their bass player. I don't think he was in the nude, but he was near enough, and that's how they got it. And it's just innovation in it.
Yeah, you've got to think ahead as well. Like Carlton, my pal, he's DJ'd for years as well, but like a lot bigger things. He DJ'd for Oasis at Wembley Stadium, and you had to send, if you were a DJ, you'd have to send in like track listings of what you'd want to play, and of course everybody was sending in other Britpop stuff. But then he sent in like rock and roll and hip hop, and they had him because it was. You need that innovative thing, like you said. They're like, oh, we don't want to hear 100 people sending in, like the Beatles, and nothing wrong with the Beatles, the Stones, but it's different stuff. So you've got to just have that little edge on something else, like. Yeah,
it's like I was thinking about this because obviously we get a lot of traffic from the O2.
Yeah.
So what should we play when they're in? Because it's like, say if it's a Britpop band, I don't think people really want to listen to.
No.
So when Supergrass were on, I went to see Supergrass. But if I was in a pub and they were playing,
you don't want
Oasis
to. Well, that's just what Carlton said. We've said if you're going to see Oasis at Wembley Stadium, as you're there, you don't want to hear Oasis over the tannoy system. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's great if you want to do it, but so he was playing like 60s funk and and a bit of an old school hip hop, and people were loving it, and it's somewhat different because I think Dove supported him, and it's like, of course, if you like that sort of stuff, it's great. You're going to have indie as the band,
of course.
So you want to hear something different in between, which is great, and that's like you said, to be that little bit different. I think you need that edge to stand out now with so many things. Yeah,
because some of the gigs I've gone to, they've not played. Like I said, they've not played the genre. They've played like old school R&B and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually brilliant."
Yeah, because you get it because everybody likes old school hip hop. So whoever you're going to see, if you hear like I don't know rappers delight coming, I remember this, and you forget, and then the band will come on, and it's great. It's that.
I didn't mind it when I went to see Green Day, because I went to see Green Day with my dad in Manchester.
Yeah.
And he played like Misfits and stuff like that. And my dad was like, who the fuck is this? I was like, this is the Misfits? Yeah. How do you not know who the Misfits are?
That's good though, because it's built, there's a lot of, that's great to keep him with that, because there's so much good punk.
Yeah.
And old punk as well, into the light, do you know what I mean? It's
like it's a weird thing you can do to get. Because obviously Green Day, they've been around since the 90s, but I imagine it's one of those bands that their parents take their kids to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a way for introduce the kids to the stuff that the band likes.
Do you know, it's perfect, that sort of thing. If Green Day and then from that people get into the Misfits and then back to the Sex Pistols and back again and back. It's great. Yeah. Like Green Day, when they first come out, I remember they come out, they were really edgy, and obviously things mellow out, but they still do what they do. They've never hidden that. You know what I mean? There's no use hiding what you do.
Well, look at the Arctic Monkeys. Like, they were known as like a proper indie band when they first, and then they bring out the last one. It's that long-winded.
Yeah, I know, the transatlantic hotel adventures of
on the moon. And people are like, this is terrible. Yeah. This isn't the Arctic Monkeys. Like, artists grow. Do you know? I mean?
It's like, I always said this. Well, I lived through all the Britpop, like full on, like on the front of the Sun, Blur. Blur. I used to love Blur because they changed every time. Nothing wrong with Oasis. I used to dig them. They've got some good stuff. But Blur's albums changed every album, and they moved on. Like, they came out with all like the baggy stuff at the start. Then they went like mod culture for like This Is Tomorrow and all that, and all that, like For Tomorrow, sorry, and it's like like that. And then they moved again, and then again, and it just and then he's obviously onto Gorillaz, and he's into hip hop, and it's
it took me a long time to get into Oasis,
Yeah,
because it was. I don't know if it was like for you when you were younger, but when I was younger, I was very much in a tribe with music. Do you know what I mean?
I know whether you liked it or not, you couldn't help but took up with it. And to be fair, I was in the 90s, I was into my hip hop and stuff like that. But then I used to love rock and roll, Beatles and Stones and stuff. And then first time I heard Oasis, it was like, wow. Even my dad was like, this is great, this is good stuff, like, because it was proper old school rock and roll.
Yeah, like I heard, it took me like, I can't remember the first time I heard Oasis. It's like asking you for the first time you heard any band in it.
Yeah. But
it took me probably a good decade. Like, I probably didn't really like Oasis. Like, I'm 26 now. Yeah. Until I was about 22.
Yeah.
I'd always listen to them.
No.
But I never was like, they're actually really good.
Yeah.
Do you know? Or like, I can understand why.
I mean, I went to Nebworth and I was like, and 100,000 people to see a band, 90,000 people. It's absolutely nuts. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy. And do you know what? They were just, I think I liked it because it wasn't a show. They just played, come out. But, I mean, I gave up after the second album, to be honest with you. They disappeared up their own wazoo. Do you know what I mean? It was all like, oh, God. And in the end, and it's like, it's all this fallout, we don't talk to each other until they played along Glastonbury and they're all, you know what I mean? It just feels a bit too cynical for me.
People are like, it's that like going back to the Charles things. It's always like you're either Team Liam or Team Noel now.
Yeah, I know, and it's like get over it. And you listen to the songs, you're like, they just sound the same. It could just be Oasis. So but I know what you mean about that. I mean, my pals, we're into like old hip hop of the 90s and stuff. We loved it, but you love it, old indie like Pop Will Eat Itself and all stuff like that. He was into that because it was influenced by hip hop.
Yeah.
So it was, that was my sort of thing. But then you'd have kids that were full on grunge and stuff, which I love Nirvana and. Pearl Jam, but I was not a massive fan of it, but I appreciate it and I liked it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, like when I was a kid, it was like you were either indie or a bit more... I don't really... Like modern R&B, not like old school R&B, which is actually rhythm and blues, but now it's a bit more...
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You're either wearing jeans or trackers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, I mean, I used to, my youth was down the Aston Triangle, Pot of Beer, and Black Horse, and all around there, and it was literally different tables that have different people look. You know what I mean? It was great though.
Yeah.
And then the DJ, I DJ'd down there for a bit as well. And you could put anything on, and everybody different tables would love it. You know what I mean? It was like.
Yeah, I always thought there was some. When I was, I don't know if it's just being a kid. I always thought there was some competition between people, but then you realise as you go older, it's like, I know people just like what they like, but if you like,
I know
people aren't gonna dislike you for liking a certain type of music.
Yeah,
I know some people might be.
No, I know some people are fun. I mean, like with the early '90s. I mean, me and my pal. I mean, we went out and got the Nirvana album, and it was like you'd never heard music before when that came out. You listen to it now, and it's great, but it was like, it just seemed to be that all the time. I still love music. It's not because I'm getting older. I'd still buy. But I remember every few weeks something would come out. You're like, oh my god, this is the next massive. Yeah, no, this is different as well.
I get what you're saying, because there was like a couple of years in my life where there just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Or there might have been, but not where I was looking. Do you know what I mean?
But I'd never. But that was the whole thing. I'd never criticise anybody's music taste. If you didn't like it, that's up to you. Do you know what I mean?
I used to.
You do.
When I was a bit younger, but then it goes for that tribe thing. It's like, if you don't like indie,
I can't believe you.
You don't like music.
It's like me and Carlton have this thing. People have a guilty pleasures night. It really gets to us because it's not a guilty. If you like it's not a guilty pleasure. It's like there's like Toto Africa. People say, it's a guilty. It's not a guilty pleasure. It's an unbelievable song. Steely Dan, unbelievable band. It's not guilty pleasure. If you like the Spice Girls, take that. It's not a guilty thing because it's your favourite song.
No, I remember that.
And I know it sounds mad being like, getting all anal about it all, but it's not a guilty pleasure.
No, I tell you what, I totally get what you're saying, because people are just like, they call it a guilty pleasure and they almost don't. They celebrate it on their own.
You feel like you have to apologise.
Yeah.
Toto Africa's a floor filler now. I don't know where it come from. I'll tell you what, a lot of this is with Glee. I've never watched it. But we'd play a song, me and Carlton, that we used to play, that nobody dug. And then suddenly people go, have you got this song? And you'd be like, and then I'd found out then off somebody's kids, that's how old I am. But it was in Glee, was it Journey, Don't Stop Believing?
Yeah.
We never played that. But people used to come and say, have you got that? And I'm like, why do you want Journey? And then they were like, don't you watch Glee? I was like, what's that? And then you realise, they're like, jeez, that's it, innit though?
That's probably the song that, loads of songs blew up from it, especially old schools ones, but I remember when Glee first started and people started to listen to Journey.
Yeah.
And I don't like the song. I don't dislike the song, but if it comes on, I'm not going to be like...
Just middle of the road, American group, great, never did anything. Then suddenly you're like, who's going out to buy that? Then, of course, it was on that, and you're like, wow. And that show bought a lot of things, but then a lot more films using old stuff. That's why, with Guy Ritchie, when he bought, Snatch and Lock, Stock Out, a lot of songs are on that. And, Quentin Tarantino was the first.
Yeah.
You look at his soundtracks, and that's what people got people into... that music.
Well, people buy the soundtracks, don't they?
Yeah.
I think the Trainspotting soundtrack must have
ridiculous.
Sold I don't know if it went. I don't know when it came out. To be fair, I was a bit young, but I don't know if it got to number one or what.
It was massive. That I remember I went to see the pictures, and you think I'll buy that, and there was different songs. You're thinking people covering different. You're like, well, this is mad. And then, Quentin Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs and that soundtrack come out. It was the best thing you'd ever heard, because at the time, you'd have your CDs and your vinyl, but then to be all put on this, and it was stuff I'd played in the past. I don't mean I'm a forerunner to it, but you're like, wow.
Yeah.
When you hear a song, you're like, my God, this is on. And that's what the thing with now, that especially things like Guardians of the Galaxy, I found every time I've seen that, there's always tracks on that. You're like, I absolutely love this song, and I've played this, and now it's on, and you're like, wow. And it's.
I was like that with Sex Education on Netflix. They played Bikini Kill, and I was like, oh my fucking god, it's Bikini Kill on a Netflix show, and people are going to know who Bikini Kill are.
That's
if they delve into the...
That's the thing. I think with Netflix and the booming of all that, a lot more programs are having a lot more music on, and it's
I think it's become... Not the composition, but it's become part of the composition of the series or the film now, isn't it? And then some films are really good. I'm not saying some films are good because of the soundtrack.
No,
Trainspotting would be a brilliant film if it had no music.
Well, it's like Pulp Fiction, great films, obviously, but you listen to the music, and they do. I've DJ'd a Quentin Tarantino night because the music's so.
Well, that's what got me into Chuck Berry, because obviously.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's it, and that's what I think. I always say that if you get a soundtrack, and some young kid thinks, you know what, who's that, and you check back through that. And then Chuck Berry, and then you hear, oh, Jerry Lee Lewis, then Elvis.
Yeah.
And it goes Johnny Cash, and it goes that then, and you just on and on and on and on. That's how that's how you did, that's how I've got from my dad, being a professional musician in the 60s, and he'd say, he'd do songs, and I'd be like, who's that? And he'd say the Beatles. And as a kid, then you'd start listening to the Beatles, then the Stones, then from the Kinks, and it goes from that, doesn't it? And he's still doing that today. I think it's great, man.
Yeah, I love it. It's like it's like my dad will listen to something, and I'm like, 4 or 5 years ago, I don't like that because it's my dad's music. But then I've the classic ones like Linkin Park. My dad was a massive Linkin Park fan.
Oh, wicked, man.
And I never got into them because it's my dad's music.
Yeah.
But now recently I've grown up a bit more. I was like, I actually really quite like Linkin Park.
I feel so old now. You said my dad was into Linkin Park. I think I was too old for Linkin Park.
No, my dad was too old for Linkin Park. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like my gig buddy, and I'll go on it. Like I've took him to see the Damned.
Yeah.
And he was just like, it was for my birthday, so I had to twist his arm to come with me because he's not the biggest.
No, man. It's like, I love the Damned, and then
favourite band of all time.
Then they just not disappeared. Yeah. They had your fans, but then you just need one band to quote them or say, look, we were influenced by that, and that's how it works, isn't it? A lot of hip hop. Some just say I was influenced by such and such, Biz Markie, say, and then somebody from him, and then it goes back to that, and then somebody will say, oh, I was like, it's just so, like Dougie Fresh. I remember them. Dougie Fresh put a song out in 1990, and people go back and check that out. Even like, Grandmaster Flash and stuff like that. People know, but you need some big star to quote somebody like that. It's like a lot of things in it. You only need to get mentioned by somebody, and it's, you know what I mean?
Well, even with that's the good thing about samples, isn't it?
Oh, the samples, yeah. Amazing.
Because when I first heard about samples, I was a very naive child when I was first started doing bands. I was like, well, why not just make it yourself? But if you use, especially for an intro, and if someone's dedicated enough to really like that artist, whether it's Jay-Z or Kanye West or whoever, and search the samples out, there's another 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes.
You start going to, there's the albums come out sampled, and it's just all like old Salt Labby Sifri, Bill Withers and stuff, and you're like, wow, where's that? And then Joe Cocker, who's like, it's been sampled on something else and then something else, and then you're like, my God, it's unbelievable. You're thinking that people go, oh, I can't believe, like you said, lazy sampling, but they're not.
No, it's not.
They're bringing Bill Withers back to somebody who would never have heard of Bill Withers, like a 20-year-old kid in New York thinking, I'll check Bill Withers out, and then from that he goes to Libby Sifrin, and it goes to further back like that, and it's. I wouldn't know a word about sampling. It's great.
Yeah, no, I used to be very.
Choose good.
Oh yeah, of course. I used to be heavily against it, and I've looked more into it. It's like, oh my God, it's actually really, like you say, if people are dedicated, which most people are. When you're into a certain genre of music, you will search those things out. It's the same with session musicians, because back in the '60s, they all used, and I think it's the Wrecking Crew from California.
I was just going to say the Wrecking Crew, unbelievable. You check that documentary out.
They did 3,000, well, I was going to say 3,000 albums, but I feel like it's more.
Well, you look at that, and they had Glenn Campbell, and they used to, Glenn Campbell was one of my favourite, and he'd be like the backing artist for the Beach Boys. Yeah. And it's unbelievable.
And you've got Carol Kay on bass, and it's just how many songs did she play on?
The Wrecking Crew that documentary is unbelievable. And like I said, Glenn Campbell just laying down the licks on some Beach Boys thing like that. It's mind blowing.
It's mental how influential they can be, but also how much anonymity they have, don't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, it shows you the video. You watch the documentary and you look and think, that's him, that's so and so, that's that, and you're like, they didn't want it. They're just like, no, we're happy to be session musicians. Obviously, they got a lot of them come out of it. Yeah,
but they got paid. They got paid well for it as well, though.
Yeah, that Wrecking. I was just going to say it, but when you brought it up, it's such a good thing. It's mind blowing and eye opening as well.
But the thing is, you get paid for it. You hear yourself on the radio, but if you don't want to be famous, you're not really famous, are you? No one's going to stop you down the street. I mean, there might be an odd randomer that knows your name, but
I say this, I was talking last night. I was watching the Football Premier League. I said to my girlfriend, I said, tell you what, unless you want to be that thing, your best place to be if you're a footballer, if you just want to make a good, first division, lower championship, playing for, not picking on Barnsley or Cambridge or something like that, but you think you're on maybe 1,000 a week, good living, a couple of thousand a week, you could still go to Tesco's and buy a sausage roll. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You go down the pub, you're playing for Man City, you're in that bubble.
Yeah, you can't,
But then that's the life they choose. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, but I think if you can earn a living from football and still be going out there, like musicians, do you know what I mean? if you're just a guitar, not just a guitarist, but a guitarist, a session musician.
All the other 3 people in Coldplay.
You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah. Well, I don't care what I'd be earning. I wouldn't be in Coldplay. But yeah. Well, I probably would. But yeah.
I remember when someone was like to me, "It's not funny to make Coldplay. It's not cool to make fun of Coldplay." I was like, "It is. It's not. But I just don't like Coldplay. I'm not doing it to be cool.
It's just, you know what I mean? They live their life. You know, that's like I said. I'd never if you like.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
It's just not my thing, and it's just that whole like, it's that middle of the road thing that people say. You know, here's the thing now. Coldplay, they bought their first album when that come out. There were some tunes on there. It was unbelievable, and then they got picked up though, and he changed his image. Apparently, they were told to cut his hair. The drummer was told he had to lose weight, and it was like they went into that. That's the thing though. They did that thing. You know, they chose it. Good luck to them. But that's that different animal of like music.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean? And it's
like Chris Martin, he's supposed to be really nice. He's obviously made enough money to live.
Do you know what I mean? He's laughing at us sitting here going, "Oh, they're rubbish."
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
He looks happy. But even if I met him, I'd still treat him like I would.
He's done. You know what? He's done his thing.
Yeah.
Fair play to you. You know, you've got that crew, and you'll sell out stadiums around the world, and great for you. It's just not for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, it's like.
But then I'd never go if somebody said I love Coldplay. I'd be like, that's all right. I'm not going to say you fucking idiot.
I'd have a joke with them, but I'd be like, oh yeah, but it's like people when I talk about music, I'm talking about really obscure punk music, and they've never heard of the band.
Well, I'm sure if I could put like Spiritualised Cop Shoot Cop 13-minute song, I'm sure put that on somebody who loves Coldplay. I'd be like, what? You're nuts.
Yeah.
But that's it though. That's my thing. Do you know what I mean? But then I don't want to listen to Fix You or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I said that too quick as though I know too much about Coldplay. Apparently there's a song called Fix You, obviously. Yeah. Full track on second album. I don't know.
Coming back to the guilty pleasures, even though you don't believe in guilty pleasures, do you have any guilty pleasures?
That's what I'm saying. There is things. I mean, like I said, like a lot of I'm so into. They've suddenly give this thing called yacht rock, middle of the road 80s, like Steely Dan, Africa, Toto. Hall & Oates. I never knew it was yacht rock, but I love that. Steely Dan, I mean, they're just like Donald Fagen. Some of the songwriting on that. It's just Peg by Steely Dan and like Georgie Porgy by Toto. They're just the pinnacle of late 70s, early 80s, like I'm sure drug-fueled, middle of the road American rock. But it's unbelievable stuff. I'd go to my grave saying that. It's just... It's so polished. The music.
I get that.
And sometimes you don't want that. I want to hear Johnny Cash sometimes banging the floor with his boot. You know, that kind of stuff, real raw sounding. But then I want to hear, do you know what I mean, Jerry Rafferty, which is like the most polished stuff again. But I love it. I love all that. That's my sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the song Rosanna by Toto.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'll just put that on. I was like, how do people...
The melodies and the songs they were getting out of that. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like hip-hop. I love hip-hop. Obviously, I love every time. And people say, you can't love that. Like Will Smith. Oh, you can't like Will Smith.
Oh, my God, I love Will Smith.
Dude,
oh, my Lord.
Some of Will Smith's, like, Summertime is... I don't care what people say, that he's still one of the top 10 hip-hop tracks.
Miami's on my gym playlist. Yeah. I can't not move when I hear Miami.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's Will Smith. And I don't care. Obviously, he's not the best rapper in the world.
There's a person who uses samples well. Yeah. Unbelievable samples. I mean, you know, he used Rock the Casbah as a sample and it works. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, he's too easy to have a go at, Will Smith. Do you know what I mean? Again, he's like Coldplay.
Yeah.
He's too easy to have a go at, and some of his stuff, getting jiggy with it when you're DJing, everybody's up.
Yeah.
Any of that sort of stuff. But Summertime, then you go back to his stuff from like the Fresh Prince and before that. Some of his stuff in the 80s is wicked. Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble and Nightmare on My Street. It's wicked raps. It's because he just went into that, you know, he knew his audience. But yeah, he's great. I wouldn't have a word against him.
No, I totally agree.
And I think a lot of these hip hop artists who have a go at him, they know what he's never going to say. He's not saying he's cutting edge like Jay-Z was, and he's not Eminem, and like he knows where he is.
Yeah, you don't need to
he makes pop songs.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're great pop songs.
I used to be totally against pop at one point because I just thought it's over, and I was like, you know what? It's actually not, because they. No. Like, I don't think anybody makes music with bad intentions.
No.
But like,
you can make it. I'm sure there's cynical people out there. They know what they can make. I tell you, when I was younger, they used to have this thing in the summers when people would go to Ibiza, and they'd come back and the song was Wigfield Saturday Night or Spain, and it was like they'd go, "Oh, we heard this song while we were abroad," And I'm sure that was cynical, because then they'd get it released over here.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody that's had the holiday in the summer, they'd get it to number one. It's not. They haven't gone out to make a bad song.
No.
But there's a bit more cynicism to it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like.
But there's nothing wrong with it, you know.
Yeah, it's just a bit of. It's just planned marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean?
It still happens now. You can't tell me there's not planned marketing for anything, any genre as well. Well, look at it, you know, like the voice and all them sort of things. It's all made to get somebody there.
Yeah,
and then
of course.
It's like, oh, I can't believe, I can't think of whatever the programme was with Will Young and Gareth Gates. And
probably pop out about that.
Something like that. And then whoever finished second, it was such a shame. They're having a career.
All of both of them had decent.
You know what I mean? So they know what they're doing. Yeah. And that's fair play to them. You know, I'm not one of these people who does music that's bitter about everything, because you know what? Great.
You just come off like a dick, don't you?
Yeah, you're not going to... Especially at our level.
Yeah.
You know, we don't make a living out. You make a little bit of money here and there, but you get to go to America, do gigs, and Sweden. You get albums released. I'm fine. I'm loving it. I'm not. We know we're not going to make it to any level.
Oh yeah.
But it's lovely to think you get a message off somebody in America. We bought your album, man. Or when's the next track coming out? And you get likes and stuff. It's lovely.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Or somebody says we want to make a video for you. I'm like, yeah, it's wicked. Obviously not at the moment. It's ridiculous, but you know. Yeah,
like with the pop, like. Even though I used to hate it, it's now my guilty pleasure. Like, I love the Backstreet Boys.
Dude,
and people look at me like, but you're like, you're wearing like you're wearing a jacket with patches on. Like, I've got a jacket with Motorhead on the back. It's like, you like Backstreet Boys?
Do you know what?
Yeah, I love them.
You can't be a musical snob.
Nah, you can't anymore.
I love hip hop, like I said. I love rock and roll, I love country. I love a lot of stuff that's about now. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not going to be like, oh God, I can't believe. I'm not, you know, or like. Or if somebody brings a wicked song out, I'll play it. Like I think it's Harry Styles, is it? He play. I'm sure it's him. He did a version of Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But I'm not going to go, I can't. I don't like it because it's Harry Styles. It's an absolutely wicked song. Fair for him for doing it.
Yeah, no, I was like that. I was like, I just keep listening to Watermelon and Sugar at the minute, and I was like,
dude, they're great songs.
I know,
man.
but this is the thing. I don't know where the turning point was, but at some point in my life I was just like, you know what, music's music.
It's like Bruno Mars. People slagged him off.
Oh, I love Bruno Mars.
Uptown Funk, dude. You ain't gonna get a better song than that. And you listen to the cymbals and the drums. It's full on, and it's like, it's good, man. Do you know what I mean? There's no, you can't. And what do you call it? What is it? 24-hour. What's it called? Mate, I can't think of a bloody song.
24.
Magic or something like
that.
Yeah,
24K Magic.
24K. Yeah, you listen to that. And that's just but the lyrics in that, and his rhymes, and he's you know, I think I've always said this to my pal Sonny. I think he's the closest you've got to. I wouldn't say Michael Jackson and Prince, because they are.
Yeah, they're on another level.
But he's got that showmanship. Do you know what I mean? He's got that thing, you know.
I remember when he did the Super Bowl a couple of years
ago. Dude.
And I was just like, oh my lord.
Well, he appreciates the show.
Yeah.
More Michael Jackson, he was off in his own entity, but more like Prince had a show. He was amazing. He's my number one. He always will be. But he had a show. He wasn't too flashy, but it goes back to James Brown.
I was about to mention.
Where he come on with his cape, and people bring his cape, put a cape on for him, and that's my thing. I love that sort of stuff. And like Bruno Mars, Prince, it's that, you know, it's great.
Yeah.
Anything that gives you that throwback, you're like, man, I remember that sort of stuff. Like going back to Oasis, my dad would be like, it sounds like the Beatles when they first come out, and you're like, yeah, wicked. That's it. That's what you want.
I think that's how I feel. Like bringing up Bruno Mars. That's how I feel about Bruno Mars. Like, I'm a big James Brown fan. And it's like it's the same. Yeah. It's not the same. It's like Greta Van Fleet and Led Zeppelin. People are like, well, they're just Led Zeppelin too. They're not.
No.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
But it's just completely.
I mean, I'd love to see Bruno Mars. His show's going to be ridiculous. I know already his show's going to be ridiculous. Without even seeing it. Do you know what I mean? Palomine, he went with his girlfriend and said, it is the best thing I've ever seen, and he's done sound for loads of people and lighting. And...
Well, that's what I was like with the Backstreet Boys, because I'm very like, I'm not gonna say I'm autistic, but if it's like synchronized dancing, I'm very like,
dude, it's great.
I have to pay attention to it, even though if it's the same thing. And I was just like, they were like mid-40s,
dude, it's brilliant,
singing, all dancing together, and I was like, this is actually a show. I mean, there wasn't mad fireworks like you'd expect it, like a heavy metal gig or something like that. But
I mean, I've been to some shows. I've been to Wembley Stadium to see stuff, and I've seen Oasis a couple of times. As a show, it's the most boring thing you ever want to see. But then you don't want to see a lot off Oasis because you want it to be just straight out rock and roll.
Yeah, it's like when I went to see Noel Gallagher.
Yeah,
I think it was his first album. I was like, it's Noel Gallagher, innit?
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch Noel Gallagher. He do a couple of Oasis songs. I liked his first album, but it's just him.
But then
and a band.
I've been to see the Flaming Lips, and that's just an unbelievable. Like, that is, everybody's dressed up, and they have people on the stage dressed up, and he comes out in this giant Zorb ball across the crowd, fireworks, confetti, and that's a different thing entirely. But that's brilliant as well. There's room in it for all. Do you know what I mean? You can't say, oh, that was crap.
Is there anybody that you've never seen but wanted to? Dead or alive?
Oh, dead or alive. I mean, I've never thought I'd get to see Prince. Every time I had tickets to see him when I was younger, and I never got to see him. I can't think what it was. But then I've got to see him so many times since. I probably would have liked to see Michael Jackson in his prime.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like sort of like Bad or Thriller. Never, because he was straight into the Enorma Domes. Never got to see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that would have been Madonna. I would have. I saw it. We were DJing at the Live 8 thing, some party thing, and she played, and she only did 3 songs.
Yeah.
But it's to see Madonna in her prime as well. Never thought I'd see the original lineup of Fleetwood Mac, but I did with, not the original like with Peter Green, but the original with, because they all hate each other. But I got to see with Lindsay Buckingham and Stevie Nicks in the same arena, which is mad.
Mike Campbell's playing with them now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mike Campbell that used to play with Tom Petty.
Yeah, Mike Campbell and bloke out of Crowded House as well was with them.
Oh, is it?
Neil Finn, I think.
Oh.
I think it's Neil. But yeah.
Is he playing bass?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because John's left, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's John, isn't it? John McVie?
Yeah, but that was the one I really wanted to see. I mean, James Brown I would have loved to have seen. And then I could list 20 soul acts I would have loved to have seen.
That's like me with punk. I was like, I don't, because I think when you're into I'm not saying funk's niche, but it's not pop, it's not rap, it's not rock. Well, I mean, it's you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like you can spout names that people are never going to listen to. Like I would have liked to go and see the New York Dolls. Yeah. Just because of how influential they've been.
Police song.
Oh, just I know.
It's come through.
Just talking about how influential they are. Like especially like some sort of back end of New York in the early 70s, it would have been it would have been not lovely because it would have been a shithole, but it would have been like an experience.
Well, I mean, we've got pals in New York, and like they were with the CBGB's club and everything, and I mean, they said New York, it was just a no-go area. It really was, like, you know,
especially like the Bowery back in the day.
Yeah, and you couldn't. I mean, we've been a few times, we played a few times, and it's so different now. Like all them areas, like the Lower East Side, which you'd never go to.
It's all fashion now.
That's the place to go, and you get your houses there. But they were dives before, and that's what made them good. And like CBGBs, but that's it though. It's good though because it's more accessible. But yeah, we've got loads of friends and people in bands over there, and it's just such a great. New York's the place. Yeah. For me, if you can get over there and do music, it's wicked, man.
That's how I feel like with the dive situation, like with the flapper. Yeah. Obviously, that's not. Well, it's there, but it's not there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in my bands when I first started out, and playing the flapper on a Saturday night was a dream, and we headlined there once, and I say that's still my favourite thing.
Yeah, I think my first gig was at the flapper.
If you played the flapper, it was like you just that next rite of passage, wasn't it?
Well, the thing, I think I went to Stereophonics. Yeah. And Kelly Jones was talking about how their first gig in Birmingham was the flapper. And I was
like the Jug of Ale in Moseley, that's gone. I mean, that was where I'd seen. I didn't get to see Oasis, but that was the play. They played down. I mean, that was like 50 people and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But we've seen so many acts there, like, and that was that and the flapper, and like Edwards number 8, the original one where Nirvana played, on like third on the bill. That was like.
Where was that?
That was on, you know, where Turtle Bay is. I'm on John Bright Street. It's up one of the little roads.
Is it?
And it was up in the corner, and the roof was like about 10 foot high. Just sweat pouring down, and that was the places for gigs. Do you know what I mean?
It's mental health. Like what I found out a couple of years ago is, you know, the first World Snooker Championship. It took place in that building where Turtle Bay is.
Wow.
There's a plaque. My mate said there's a plaque somewhere, but I only remember it when obviously I work on John Boat Street. But I'm never gonna.
My dad, I'd have to ask him about that because he'd know all about that. He was based around there with his bands and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure he showed me the webpage. I was like, oh my god, that actually makes a lot of sense because they've got the downstairs bit.
I believe it, man.
Yeah, but it's weird how things can change. Like, I'm not saying it'd be a big thing because obviously snooker's a bit.
No, but it's massive. I mean, there's so much hidden things with Birmingham as well. I think, you know. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, when I was a kid, you'd never think Birmingham would be like it is now. People coming to Birmingham to do things. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, it was like, I mean, I've always loved Birmingham. My mum and dad have always loved. I mean, we're Welsh, but I was born here, but the family's Welsh. But our mum and dad, they've always loved Birmingham, and I've never heard a bad word. And now, with Digbeth, the explosion of Digbeth, and all the good pubs opening up everywhere. It's how Birmingham's become accepted now.
Yeah.
The music scene is getting better. You know what I mean? There's a lot more things.
I'm always like that though, because like when I was at uni, we had a lot of people coming from outside of England and around England. I was like, why did you come here?
Yeah.
Could have gone to London.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say go to Manchester because I do believe Birmingham is the second city.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why Birmingham?
I think when me and Carlton started out doing stuff, and he's done stuff on his own. He used to do stuff at the Academy and ramshackle his night, and we've started nights up in the record label. I think with Birmingham, you were doing it, whereas you'd be one of a million in London because everybody wants to make it in London. But if you make a go of it in your own city, it's a lot more. It feels more rewarding as well, you know.
Especially here as well, because it's.
I got nothing against London. I
no,
love
neither
London.
have I.
And it's lovely to play gigs there. And it's still, if you get a gig in London, it's still massive.
Yeah.
Or you DJ in London, it's still a big thing.
Yeah, no, totally.
You know.
Even going to especially coming from, even getting a gig in Manchester or Liverpool.
Yeah. Anyway, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of them people. Oh God, I hate that. You know, if we play anywhere, I love doing little tours. We've toured like everywhere, and it's great in Britain. Lovely in the little places, and back to Cardiff, and like you said, Manchester and Liverpool. It means a lot up into Scotland. It's lovely, but to make a go of it in your own city, you feel more like, that's wicked, man.
I get that. Because like we get, like doing gigs upstairs at the Vic,
I
will always, unless it's like a bit, I think I did an acoustic night once, but if it's a bit heavier, I'll do it. Because I just like, I like the environment, do you know what I mean?
I think Birmingham, London, I'm sure, London's so big, it's different, you know, you get your own parts, but Birmingham, everybody... I'd like to think, I don't know now, but everybody seems to support each other. Well, our crew do. Like, you know, we all go out and support each other's bands, and you know, and you all go out and help other people. And
it is weird because it's a big place, but like, where was I? Was it Tuesday night? Tuesday or Wednesday night? I was out. I was in the Vic. Obviously, I know people in the Vic because I work there.
Yeah.
Went to Stables. Obviously, I know people in the Stables. Yeah. But I walked from John Bright Street to like back end of O2 Academy, but I went through Mailbox because it was a bit lighter. And I walk past so many people I know, and I love it because I like knowing people. But you know, you just want a bit of admin in it for like half hour.
I tell you what, I live in Moseley. I don't mean I'm popular. I don't mean it like this. But you want to go for a pint of milk?
No, I totally get it.
And you're like, all right, and you're like, oh no, I got to speak for an hour. I love it though. I love it because you're thinking, you know what? If somebody remembers you and wants to speak to you, it means the world. Our granddad always said, if somebody says hello to you and they remember you, or it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But like you said, sometimes at 8 in the morning when I want to get a cup of tea, I'm like, but that's good. Birmingham's massive.
Yeah.
But the centre's very small.
I know, and I like that thing. I like that about it.
That's why I like, you know, I mean, you think how small the centre is in Birmingham. You can walk in an hour. Do you know what I mean? What you got sort of Academy that end, you've got Dale End, you've got Broad Street, and then you've got Digbeth. And it's lovely though, and that's what makes it good.
Yeah, if you've got a walk on, you can get to Digbeth in 5 minutes, can't you?
Yeah. And that's what's making Digbeth so good now. Yeah. Because, I mean, when I was a kid, Digbeth was completely nothing.
Same. I think I did a couple of gigs in there.
But now, it's like, you can go for... If I say to my dad, we're going for a night out in Digbeth, he's like, what?
Oh, I'm out there tomorrow night.
You know.
Go and get a golf tomorrow night. I was just like, you know what? I enjoy it. I went to a talk... I remember going to a talk at the Night Owl. Mentioning idols again, like Joe Talbot
he did that, didn't he? Yeah.
And I was just like... It was just before lockdown. You could still go in a big group. I walked out, and it was busy.
Yeah.
Even though it was like a Thursday night. Ghetto Golf was busy.
Well, I mean, you look at this. If I said to my dad the other day, I said, right, within a mile distance, I said, you can play crazy golf. I said, you can go into a baseball batting cage, like a floodgate. I said, you can go for like any meal of anything you ever want. Yeah, I mean,
look at Digbeth Diamond Club.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I said, there's a Digbeth outside, then you go to the night. He said, I can't believe it. I said, it's unbelievable. Yeah, you know, I love it. It's great. I just hope it doesn't oversaturate. That's my worry.
Yeah, I was talking to my mate about this a couple of months ago.
There's a lot of things opening up, and it's lovely. But you don't want it.
You need the balance, don't you?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I think John Bright Street got it right. I thought that was going to oversaturate, but it, like, you know, with the Vic and stuff, and then a few things opened, but they got the level right, didn't they? I don't think we were Digbeth. There's enough people want to go to Digbeth, so that's good.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I enjoy my time down there.
Oh, I love it. We've got pals. We've got a lot invested down there of like friends and stuff, so they'll all do well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's what I like about Moseley as well, because Moseley Kingsheath. To me, it's the same place, even though I know that.
No, it is. Yeah.
But like every pub's the same, but sort of different.
Yeah.
Same with Digbeth.
Yeah.
There's the same sort of like entertainment places. Obviously, a baseball cage and got crazy golf. Two completely different things, but
no, but you're still in that same. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Going back to like the music, did you start on drums?
Yeah, well, my dad, like I said, he was a musician in the 60s, and I used to, when I was younger, I didn't used to go and sing because I was too young, but on the next day he'd go and pick his stuff up, and I'd go with him and pick the drums up, and I said I'd love to learn the drums. He never showed me, he just showed me the basics and said, I'm not going to teach you because you get your own style, just play along to stuff, and it went from there then. And it's, I can't play anything else.
Okay, yeah.
No, which is a bit of a killer, because if you, with lockdown, I can't just sit there whacking the crap out of my drums.
Yeah,
but with a guitar, you could sit there, you know, you could strum a few things.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate for that, because I wanted to learn drums, but I've not got the coordination. I know it's only you moving 2 feet and hands at the same time, but I can't.
Dude, I tell you what, if I catch myself, it's like somebody said, I think it was Bruce Springsteen, I think he said, if you're thinking, you're stinking.
Yeah.
Because you start looking at your hands, and you're like, everything's moving. I've caught myself. And you're like, oh, I can't look at this. Because you're thinking, I can't even put a key in the door sometimes. Yeah. But I'm managing to get 4 things going at once. It's bizarre.
Yeah, like I think that might be why I can't do it. I just think about it too much. Because with guitar,
you've got to cut off. You've got to shut yourself out. I think with guitar as well, you know that if you're going to play them chords in a row, you can't throw an F chord in there.
Yeah, no, I get that.
With drumming, you can kind of fill in things, and it's a bit more freer. I'd love to learn the guitar. I'd love to learn bass. You know what I mean? I'd love to be able to sing, but it's that, you know.
You mentioning that has genuinely struck a chord with me, because I can't solo very well.
No.
But I think about solos too much, you know what I mean? But then I'm a really good... I'm a decent rhythm player.
I was going to say, you sound like the rhythm then. That's
and I can do that. But solos, I think it might be because...
But I think with drumming as well, you can't go over the top. Now, my favourite drummer, everybody... It's like a running joke. Everybody slags Ringo Starr off.
Oh, I love Ringo Starr.
Oh, he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. I tell you what, that's what they say. You listen to any of the Beatles tracks, he never does anything. Like, he just fall to the floor, rock and roll, unbelievable. He doesn't go over the top. You don't need to in Beatles songs.
Look at Come Together. All he does is like the main verse bit is just him on the tom.
Yeah, and sizzling that dude.
But people are moving to that floor tom, and if you can do that as a drummer, you don't have to be flared. You can.
You don't need to flare up in some Beatles songs. Then you listen to stuff off like Revolver, and I know they got other drummers in and they'd loop pedalled and stuff like that. But his stuff on the early rock and roll, just 4 to the 4 straight through, and his image was the thing. You know,
he's my favourite Beatle.
Yeah.
But then people are like, it's cliche. I was like, I don't care.
No.
Ringo Starr is the man.
No, he's the. You listen to him. I mean, he's just 4 to the floor, just swinging away. Such a great style, and he was one of the first bands where, like, you look at whenever they play, he's on a podium.
Yeah.
Because they know he's got that thing, and he's swinging his head like that, and he was part of the band. Whereas before, drummers
were at the podium, it was like 2 stories up, weren't it?
You look at drummers, and they're at the back.
Yeah.
And then you've got some, but then on the other hand, you've got somebody like Keith Moon, who is unbelievable, who's one of the best drummers about. He goes back to the old 50s and 40s of Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa.
Buddy Rich.
The Jack supposed to be the nastiest man in the world, but everybody wanted to work for him because he was such a good musician, you know. But that's it. But you can't beat just a straight drummer. He doesn't need to be clever all the time.
Is your favourite drummer Ringo then?
It depends. Ringo, I think, for just straight out stuff. But then old style, I'd say Buddy Rich for me old. Yeah. Not as a person, but as a drummer himself. And then Gene Krupa was before him. Proper swinging. And my dad's a great drummer. Just solid. You don't need to be flaring around sometimes.
Well, even like Bill Ward from Black Sabbath was influenced by Gene Krupa.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was always heavy metal and...
That's it. You don't need to be, you know... It's great to do rolls, you know, and stuff and round the kit, but you don't... Like with our band, it's like sort of garage, sort of country punk sort of thing. You don't need...
Oh, it's a beautiful mix.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. But you don't need to be rolling around everywhere. None of us are doing anything too clever. Yeah. That's the thing, do you know what I mean? Because the songs are good. So, like, minimal, and then you can put stuff in, you know, but...
Yeah, like, I'm being a punk, I'm very, like... I'm still anti-prog. Do you know what I mean? And prog, to me, is a bit flary. Yeah. So I just turn it back. Like,
I must admit, that's the thing. I do like prog, so some of it's very straight. You know, some of it's like, I don't grasp it sometimes.
No, like...
But it's, you know...
15-minute songs, I'm just like, I don't understand it. But then again, I suppose blues can be a bit flary, but to me, it's not justified. Yeah, I'm going to have to use the word justified. Like, I'm a big fan of Ginger Baker, who will go mental.
Another lunatic on the drums, but, you know, and strange, you know, mad. But he's great, that's what you want. Do you know what I mean? It's
even like Jack Bruce on bass, he's still... I'm not saying you can be flary. I mean, you can with your funk and stuff, but... Like, I go bassists, I always go back to Flea and Jack Bruce. And then with guitar, I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan.
Yeah,
and he's like, blues is like, I don't know. I think about this a bit. It's flary like prog, but not.
No.
For me, it's weirdly justified because it's the blues.
I tell you, like bass, my favourite bass, they call it the walking bass, like a Johnny Cash, like dung, 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 just nothing clever.
Yeah.
Just carries the. And when you're drumming with that sort of thing, it just carries you along. You know. But then obviously different types of music. No. Obviously, you couldn't do it. You know.
No, I remember when I was at school. I was in my first band, and someone was like, "Well, the bass isn't important." I nearly slapped. I didn't slap him, but I was just like,
bass and drums together, like Rich in Swampmeat. I love him. Like, you know, he's been into like. He was in Pop Will Eat Itself, who was one of my favourite bands, Bentley Rhythm Ace, who I loved. And his bass playing, he just doesn't do too much.
Yeah.
And like he says to me, you don't do too much either, but we just work with each other. And that's what it is. And you'll look at it and you'll just not flare it up, but you'll just...
No, I totally get that.
And then you go up the stair and it's like, you know...
It's like, I don't know how non-musicians think about it, but like when I hear a good song, it's always the drums and bass mainly.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's all about the guitar for me. But like, I remember learning a Rick James song.
Oh man!
And it's the same pattern repeated, but it's such a good bass line.
Yeah.
And like, I think it was like 3 of the same pattern, and then he added like the bass player. I wanted to be fair, he played bass, didn't I? Added like a couple of notes onto it.
Well, look at James Brown. You know, one of the best musicians around, and his band, like the JBs, the tightest band you'll ever meet. Listen to the drums. It can be 9 minutes, 3 minutes, the same beat through, nothing mad, and he'll count them in, he'll count that in, and the guitar licks and stuff, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, it's the feel, and it all comes together. Then, do you know, like, that's the main thing. It's all coming together, like making it the whole, and that's the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, as a musician, I think we look at it differently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do appreciate the togetherness of a band now. Because obviously you can have like a really good bass player, but like Stevie Ray Vaughan, going back to Stevie Ray Vaughan again, he'd be nothing without the bass and drums.
That's it. That's what you've got to. You know, it's all working together, and like with our band, like we're all pals anyway. That helps as well. Do you know what I mean? We're really good mates. We hang out anyway, so you just feel. I mean, we've done stuff where we've had a gig, we haven't rehearsed, but because we've done it, we all know what the other one's going to be doing. You know, that feel you want.
Sometimes you
can just pick it up like we recorded. Last year we did the album and like we hadn't had many rehearsals and we were all coming in separate. But I know what Dan, who writes a song, sings, what he wants. Do you know what I mean? And he knows I'm not going to go over come in with this mad beat. And then Tom, the guitarist, and the others sing. You know, he'll have a fill or a good lead, and then Rich will just straight like walking bass through it. Or me and him will say, look, what about doing that? You know, it's easy going.
No, I totally get that. I remember one of my favourite gigs. I think we played like a day. I can't remember what day it was. Then at the gig, we got a phone call. It was like, "Oh, can you fill in tomorrow?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Jesus Christ, 2 gigs in 2 days." We didn't really practice for the first one. No. But then we went to the second one was at Island Bar upstairs, and there used to be a stage there. The best gigs I've ever done because we just didn't. It's not that we didn't care. No. But we just didn't have the.
There's a difference with not caring and not. I can't think of the word, but you're not like wound up for it. You go in relaxed because sometimes you need it thrown at you to do it, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you find relaxed. I mean, I don't get I get nervous in a good way. I get excited. Yeah, I'm not like pacing the room. I've got to start, but I still with DJing. I'm excited to do it and playing the drum. I'm excited more than like it's nervous excitement.
No, I get that. Like I don't get nervous until like, especially when I was in bands, doing anything. Like interviews,
but it's good that if you're not nervous, then there's something wrong because you'll sail through it. And
it's always like 2 minutes before.
Yeah.
Say if I an interview until I sit down in like the waiting area.
Yeah, but if
that's when I start to get nervous.
If you're not nervous though, you think you're going to sail through it.
Yeah, you're not alive.
You've got to be nervous. Or if you don't get excited about something, you've got to get it. You know what I mean? That's the part of living, isn't it? It's getting all excited about music. I'll always be excited about music till the day I go. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, my dad's 80. He still goes busking. He's still in his band. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
So he's never gonna. He loves it.
Yeah, once it's in you, it's in you, ain't it?
Yeah, he loves that stuff. He loves it. And that's what I thank him for. It. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, we're just about done. If you want to shout out your socials for your Swampmeat, if you want to.
Oh, man, if people are interested, just check out Swampmeat Family Band and check out Black Mecan, Cherry Pickles. Just go to one of them. Punk Slime, the label. Go to any one of us and we're all linking with each other.
Yeah, I usually drop whoever my guest is. I usually drop their socials at the bottom in the description on YouTube. Anyway.
I'd say come and watch us DJ, but there ain't any hope of that. Come to a gig, but there ain't any hope of that either. So no, but check the band out, and then you'll see our links with other bands, all our pals, and there's a lot. The Birmingham music scene at the minute, it's brilliant. Cave Girl, Bad Girlfriend. There's a lot of stuff going. I'm not just picking them out. I could just keep going.
Yeah, that's the going. You can
going. Dorchairs, and I could just, I could be here an hour listing. You just need to check one or two of them out, and they'll take you somewhere else to list somebody else, and they'll take you somewhere else. So wicked.
Yeah, but thank you very much, T.
Thanks, man. I'd loved it.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Sorry to bore you.
Cheers very much.
Thank you.